You know, way up in the mountains of Chiapas, Mexico, there's a different kind of story being told. It's not really about fighting a storm head-on. It's about figuring out a way to endure it together. It's a story all about building what they call the common before the storm. So this entire idea is really built around this one powerful metaphor for the crises we're all seeing around the globe. And it starts with a single, really potent image. A storm is coming.
I want you to just picture a storm gathering on the horizon. But this isn't your typical storm, not clouds and thunder.
No, this is something much, much deeper. Something we've kind of built ourselves.
It's a storm where forests are burning, where democracies feel, hollowed out, and where if we're not careful, our hearts can just grow numb from it all. It's like a crisis of civilization itself. And everywhere you look, you're told, hey, this is just the way it is. And that forces you to ask this massive question that really sits at the heart of this whole thing. Is this cycle of crisis and fear, is this really the only way forward? Well, deep in those Chiapas mountains, a completely different answer is being lived out every single day. It's a real counter-narrative to the individualistic world most of us know, and it's all built around this beautiful concept they call the common.
So, what exactly is the Zapatista Common? Well, it's not just about sharing land or resources, not at all. It goes so much deeper. It's about a shared being, a fundamental state of collective existence.
And this idea, it has ancient roots. In the Mayan language, Juchtan, the term is Ujuntelio Winnacob, and that roughly translates to the togetherness of people. It carries this incredibly profound meaning that we only truly exist because we exist together. Our humanity is literally found in our connection to one another. And this is where you can really see the two worldviews clash, right? On one side, you've got the dominant global culture, which is just obsessed with I, my achievement, my power, my profit. But then you have the Zapatista world, which operates from the principle of we. Their schools, their councils, even their fields are seen as just different heartbeats in one single living body.
Okay, so if that's your philosophy, how in the world do you prepare for la tormenta, the storm? Well, their approach to resistance isn't about fighting or building walls. It's about nurturing something that can actually grow.
This is where their idea of autonomia, or autonomy, is so important. For them, this means the collective freedom to grow their own food, to make their own decisions, and to tell their own stories, all on their own terms. It's the practical side of their shared being.
And this quote just sums it up perfectly. Instead of building these defensive walls against the coming storm, they focus on planting deep roots, cultural roots, social roots, agricultural roots, the kinds of things that can hold a community together when the winds really start to blow.
So the revolution isn't about tearing things down. You could call it a revolution of emergence. And it's a two-part process. First, there's ka'echajil, which is to endure hardship with patience and with dignity. And then there's chupalil, to rise up just like a stalk of corn, pushing its way through the dark soil. See? It's not about destruction, it's about enduring and then emerging anew.
But here's the thing. This philosophy isn't just intellectual or political. It's built on a deeply emotional foundation. It's a completely different way of knowing and feeling the world.
There's this incredible word they use, na'atik. It means to understand. But what's so fascinating is its root, na'a, which means heart. So for the Zapatistas, to truly understand something isn't just a mental thing. It is to know it with your heart.
And this leads to a really powerful insight. The Zapatistas teach that fascism isn't just a political system, it's an emotional one. It takes root when we become numb, when we stop feeling for one another. And so their fight isn't just with weapons, it's with care, with song, and with the radical act of just remembering that all of life is connected.
And this brings us right back to the final, absolutely essential message. The challenge they see isn't framed as a battle we have to win, but as a test of our collective endurance, of our connection to each other in the face of whatever's coming.
So the question Zapatistas are really posing to all of us isn't, how do we stop the storm? It's this: how do we become like a forest, with all those interconnected roots, strong enough to endure the storm when it finally arrives?
Ultimately, the message is both so profound and so simple. Maybe the greatest act of rebellion, the most important revolution we can be a part of, isn't about fighting harder. Maybe it's just about relearning the essential art of how to live together.